Gentleman yields back. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes. Madam Secretary, I took note of my colleague Mr. Torres's comments about NYCHA receiving roughly 80% of the rent reimbursements. And you said if that was applied to a private landlord, quote, would not be happy. But that's exactly what happens with New York City's arbitrary rent control laws every day. Do you support New York City's rent control laws?
I have no idea what they are other than the fact that they try to keep housing moderate. It's not something that we deal with at HUD.
Do you support rent control in general?
Depends on how it's done. I mean, in general, yes.
Okay.
Depending up, but every tub sits on its own bottom. I can't say I agree with it across the country.
So in the biggest city in America, you're not aware of New York City's rent control laws as the HUD Secretary?
I'm aware of the law. I just have not read it. I don't know what's in it.
Do you support the general concept of good cause eviction?
What does that mean?
Good cause eviction is a law being proposed in New York that would make it extremely hard for a landlord to evict a tenant.
I've not read the New York law, obviously, and I'd have to do that in order to say whether I support it or not.
Okay. You said you support rent control laws. Is the rental property that you own in Warrensville, Ohio, subject to rent control?
I don't have really any rental property.
You don't? Your financial disclosure form specifies that you have a rental property.
My mother lives in it and my niece lives in it. I guess I don't consider it rental property.
Okay. I mean, you label it a rental property.
It is.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
Technically, it is.
Okay. Well, I mean, technically.
And it is rent controlled, quite frankly. It is.
Rent controlled by law or by you?
By me.
Okay. Fair enough. Madam Secretary, I took note of your exchange with Chairman McHenry earlier about the length of time that you've been sitting here testifying. It's been over 900 days since you last testified before this committee. When you last testified, you stated, "I pledge this. If I have the honor of being confirmed, I will be accessible to you. I will listen to you. And I will be a partner to you to solve the housing challenges your constituents are facing back home. I expect you to hold me accountable along the way. I welcome that accountability, and I will always strive to be transparent and a good faith partner as we work together." It's been over 900 days since you last testified here. Do you support a yearly requirement for the HUD Secretary to testify before Congress?
I think it's reasonable, but let me just be clear again. It's been 900 days not because of me. We have worked many times to try to schedule this. The only definitive date I have ever received from this committee for last year was December 6th, and that day I could not attend. That is the only date I have been given by this committee. And I do respond to every inquiry I receive. So I have done what I said I would do.
Well, I think Chairman McHenry had an inquiry that had not been responded to, but so you support a yearly requirement. I have legislation to do that.
I think it's reasonable.
Okay, so you will endorse that, and
I don't need to endorse it. I mean, it's up to you. I just believe it is reasonable.
Okay, but I mean, when the Fed chairman is coming in, when the Treasury Secretary is coming in on a yearly basis, and in many cases testifying multiple times a year, I would think the HUD Secretary certainly
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying to you, I think it is reasonable. You don't have to convince me.
Great. So we will move forward with that, and we look forward to you being here on a yearly basis. We're about 6.5 million units underbuilt in this country right now. There's no question we have a supply issue in this country. What is your main objective to actually help increase supply? What is the best pathway forward that you as HUD Secretary are working on while respecting home rule, as you said to Mr. Garbarino before, to actually help incentivize the building of housing units in this country?
We create an environment in which people want to build, one that has less regulation, more input from communities, zoning issues that need to be changed, planning issues. We are creating an environment through assistance through low-income housing tax credits, through housing trust fund resources, through housing finance agencies, through the Federal Financing Bank. We've done an awful lot to create an environment in which people want to build.
I just want to clarify one last thing. You said earlier 40% of housing is owned by private corporations. According to Freddie Mac, only 2.5% is owned
I
in the
said in the
purchase
next
market.
10 years.
In the last 10 years?
I said in the next 10 years.
Oh, and you're just coming up with the number?
No, it's a number that's been projected through people who do this work. No, I didn't just come up with a number. I'll send you the report.
We would love to see the report because 2.5% to 40% is a massive jump.
I'll send it to you tomorrow.
But you said that owning, private corporations owning is a bad thing. I just want to make sure you don't actually think private corporations owning property is actually a bad thing.
I did not say a bad thing. That's your word. What I said was, when they buy these properties, if they hold them and not put them back on the market, what it does is increase the cost of the housing that is already there. And I even said, it's not illegal. Don't put words in my mouth.
Okay. Just want to clarify.
Way over. You've extended time way over.
Thank you.
Look where you are.
I see. It happens every committee hearing.
Okay, then I'll take the extra time.